Hello and welcome to episode 266 of the Wisdom and the Tangents podcast. As always, I'm your host, John Mansfield. Today we are wrapping up this is the wrapping up motion, obviously. We are wrapping up our money management series. This is part 4 of that series. And we're talking about credit cards. We're talking about investments. We're talking about retirement. All the fun things that are a little bit just kind of like, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm probably not going to do anything. But yeah, I'm excited to get into these. If you have not listened to any of this series, I'm just going to do a brief little recap for you. Very brief for those who have listened to it, who are just like, John, get on with it. I want to hear about credit cards. In part 1, which started in episode 260, we talked about separating your personal and business finances. So you got different bank accounts. I talked about high yield savings accounts and going into a bunch of different things to make your money work for you, and also to just set yourself up for an easier tax season situation where you're not having to decipher, was this a business expense or was this for my personal? You have it separated. So that's part 1. Part 2, I go into the cost of doing business calculator, how to figure out what your costs of doing your business actually is. And it's a good like baseline for where to start your prices. And then, add in profit and pay and all of those things on top of your cost of doing business. Also have a free cost of doing business calculator that you can download. It's an Excel spreadsheet that I'll put it in the show notes of this episode as well. But we go into the whole thing in episode or part 2 of this in 264. And then this last episode in 265, I talked about tax deductions and different categories that you can separate your financial statements into to just make tax season so much more simpler for you and simpler for your CPA. But yeah, I go into all that. That is last episode. This episode, we're talking about investments, retirement accounts, and credit cards. Now, I am not a financial professional. I have finances, and I am a professional who makes finances. But this is, take this information with a block of salt. I've learned from a lot of other financial professionals. So that is kind of like what I'm regurgitating to y'all. That sounded gross. That is what I'm just sharing with you from the knowledge that I've learned from others. You are not baby birds. I am not a mama bird. These are not worms. I hope that made sense for everyone. Coffee. And because I am a photographer and not a financial professional, I learn from actual financial professionals, and I wanted to share a couple with you so that you can learn a little bit more after this episode and go learn from them. One is Tori Dunlap. She's got like the highest rated podcast in all of the finances. Yes, more than Dave Ramsey, which she should be. And it's called Her First 100K. She is the financial feminist. Amazing stuff. I've learned so much from her. My wife and I have taken some of her courses and investment workshops and stuff like that. So definitely go check out Tori, and also Katie Addy-Towson. She is the host of Money with Katie. And I will put that in the show notes as well. You can go check out their podcasts and their books and all of the resources that they have. But they are the professionals. And this is stuff that I have learned from them. So let's get into credit cards. If you grew up anywhere like me, credit cards were evil. Credit was not good. Or I guess debt. Debt was not good. You didn't want debt. You didn't want credit cards. I remember the big, not to talk too much more about Dave Ramsey, but I remember like my parents listening to Dave Ramsey on the radio and people calling in and being like, I'm debt free, and like us cutting up credit cards and throwing them away. And it was just like this big thing of, We don't have debt. We don't do debt. It is not good. It will hurt you. That is not completely true. Yes, debt can hurt you. You can get into crippling debt, and it can be a complete mess if you don't know what you're doing, which a lot of people, we get the junk mail that comes in and it's just like, you've been pre-approved for this credit card. And you're like, you know what? I've been wanting a new camera, so I think I will open this credit card and go buy this $6,000 camera, and I'll just pay it off later. It's 0% interest for 18 months. And then 18 months later, you realize you haven't paid anything. So if you don't know what you're doing with credit cards, it can be a little bit scary, and it can be a dangerous place, which is why I want to share a little bit, and also why I also shared about Tori and Katie, where you can learn more from the professionals. But credit cards are not evil. Credit cards can actually help you a lot and bring you more money, where you're actually like making some money off of your credit cards, off of things that you're doing anyway. You're already spending money. You're already spending money on your expenses every single month. And this is a way where you can actually use that, those payments, that debt that you are, that you're, I guess not really debt, but the expenses, the money that you are, that's leaving your account. This can actually make you some money. So let's talk about debit cards. I guess debit cards are just, they take money from your account and go straight to whoever you're buying the product or service from. And that's it. That's all it does. It just takes it directly out of your account, and that's it. You're not making anything from that. You're not benefiting from that. Your credit score is not going up just because you have a debit card, which we can get into credit scores later. But like, if you're in America, and I'm not really sure how this works in like Canada or India or the UK or anything like that, because I don't live there. But I know here in America, you need a credit score to get anything. So if you're buying a car, if you're buying a house, if you're getting a personal loan or a business line of credit, you need a credit score, or your interest rate is going to be astronomical. It's not going to be worth it for you to do anything. So credit cards help you to build that credit. Instead of using a debit card where it's just taking your money and giving it to the business that you're buying from, your credit card is the credit card institution. the person, if you have it like through like Chase Sapphire card or something like that, Chase Bank is taking their money, giving it to the business that you just purchased something from, and then you owe to Chase Bank your credit. You owe to that credit card. So then you can pay out of your bank account into that credit card to pay off that debt that the bank has put ahead of you. So credit cards, if you're just like don't know anything about credit cards, they have credit limits. So you can get like a beginner credit card that has like a $500 limit or something like that. It's a nice little baby card. It's a good place to start, honestly. You don't want a $5,000-$10,000 limit when you don't know how to use credit cards yet, because that is a recipe for getting into a lot of credit card debt, and a recipe that I tasted in college, to be honest. So you want to look for something that has like a smaller debt ceiling or a smaller credit limit, to where you can only put $500 on this. And then after that, it doesn't work. You're going to try it and it's going to say, sorry, you're not approved. You have insufficient funds. So starting off with something small like that, like $500, you could put a monthly payment on there. Your Adobe software, you can change that to where instead of just getting taken directly out of your bank account, just being debited out every single month, paying Adobe however much you're doing. I have like the all-inclusive everything package, and I probably don't need that, but it kind of hurts every time I see that on my bank statement. I'm like, oh, that much is going out. All right, cool. I need to use some of these other softwares than just like the three main ones that I use. But like it's setting up something like that, or even if we're talking about personal business or personal credit cards, you can throw like your Netflix on there or something that's not crazy. It's if you miss a month of paying your credit card off, it's not going to be the worst because it's like $20 or 50. I don't know where Netflix is these days, but you want to put just like something small on there. That is a great way to start building credit and be manageable to pay off at the end of the month. So 3 steps to holding good credit that I would recommend is 1, only put your normal expenses on there. Don't get a credit card to go buy a new lens. Don't get a credit card to go on a vacation. Like, get a credit card and then just move stuff that you would normally be paying with your debit card or through an automatic payment that's just coming straight out of your bank account, and then put that on your credit card. And then you can even set this up for auto payments on most credit cards. You can set auto payments to just pay the full balance before the end of the month. And I would just do that. You are already allocating this. It's already in your budget. You already know that you're going to have these expenses, but instead of coming directly out of your bank account, they're coming out of your checking account or your credit card and building your credit. And then you're able to pay that off, and it keeps your credit score really high. So that takes me to step 2, which is pay off in full every month. Don't let it sit there, because once it sits there, if you have $100 on your credit card, it is going to get hit with interest. And a lot of credit cards are anywhere from like 12% to I've seen upwards of like 30% interest on credit cards. And that's a lot. That is a lot of money that you are going to have to pay in fees just because you let that credit card sit with a balance on there. So make it a point, even put it in your calendar. I've had to do this before where I'm just like, you know what? On the 23rd of every month, I need to pay the credit card off, because if I don't, I can forget, and then I don't want to have to pay that interest because it's going to be a good amount. So pay it off in full every month and use it for normal expenses at first until you get like used to having a credit card to where you're not just like, ooh, shopping spree, but you can be like, okay, I do want to invest in this new lens. I can do this, and then I can, either pay this off by the end of the month, or I could pay off half of it. I'll still have to pay a little bit in interest, and then next month I'll pay the other half, and it'll be better. And then the third step is look for, I guess maybe this should be the first step, but look for credit cards with perks. So a credit card is good to build your credit score, but the credit card perks, like the cash back, the airline miles, the different, I don't know, cash back is what I always, I love a good cash back, but but there's like, if you fly Delta a lot, you can get a Delta Sky Mile credit card and then just buy all of your plane tickets on that and then just pay it off. Like, sometimes I will do that just immediately. Just schedule a payment to the credit card for whatever amount I just put on, schedule that for 3 days from now. And then it's an easy way to not forget about it, because I'm also very good about forgetting if it's not directly in front of me. So look for those credit cards with good perks and stuff. I will also put a link in the show notes for some credit cards that Tori Dunlap suggests. And including like the Chase Sapphire Unlimited and stuff like that. A lot of those credit cards that have the really good perks also have like an annual fee of like $49, or an annual fee of like, some of them are a couple $100 because the perks are really good. And usually if you're using the credit cards responsibly and you are putting those monthly expenses onto them and then paying them off every month and just using them as kind of like a middleman, like a conduit between your money and the businesses that you are buying from, and then just paying it off every month, the benefits of these cards are well more than $49 a year. So check out those. It's linked in the show notes. She's got some different options for like different places of where you are in personal or business life. So that's credit cards. Now let's talk about investments in retirement. A lot of us, we're solopreneurs. We left the 9-to-5 job, or maybe you never even had a 9-to-5 job, and you don't have a 401k, you don't have an IRA, you don't have any sort of retirement investments going on, because you're making all of your own money. And like I didn't have a 401k when I worked as a janitor in high school or into college. I was just making money, and I would put a little bit away for taxes and a little bit away for savings, but most of it was just going to me at that time. And it wasn't until I had a 9-to-5 job where they offered to match, I think it was like 5% of up to 5% of my paycheck, they would match to go into my 401k. But I was, broke early 20s, making, I think I started at like $9 an hour or something. And I was like, I cannot afford to give you 5%. Even if you're going to match that, I need money now. I think I ended up eventually going to about 3%. But like that is something that I wouldn't have started on my own at 21 when I got that job. That's something that a lot of 9-to-5 jobs, a lot of corporate jobs will have for you. And a lot of us entrepreneurs, we don't have that, or we don't really know how to set that up. So a great way to set that up, if you don't have a 401k or like a SEP IRA or something like that, I would recommend going through someone like Gusto. I use Gusto for my payroll to pay my second shooters and my associates and team members. And they also handle a lot of the tax documents for all of that too. But they also have 401ks. I think they've partnered with Guideline to where you can set up a 401k to where it just automatically takes the money out of your account every month and puts it into a 401k. You don't even have to think about it. And that is the kind of investment that I like, because if I'm looking at my bank account, it's a lot harder for me to say, ooh, I'm going to take $100 here and put it into an investment account than if I don't even see that $100 to begin with. So if you want to check out Gusto, you can go to podcast.allheartphoto.com/Gusto and sign up. You also get $100 after you pay your first paid payroll. They're a partner of the show. I'll have that linked in the show notes for you. But a common misconception for 401ks and IRAs is that they are investment accounts. They are not investment accounts. They are essentially a bucket that you can throw money into in order to invest the money that's in that bucket. So it's a different account. It ends up just being a savings account if you're not investing anything into it. And I made that mistake. I trusted a friend who was like a financial advisor of sorts, and it turned out to be a pyramid scheme. But yeah, they had me sign up for Roth IRA, and I was like, great, I'm gonna start investing. And we were putting money into it. It wasn't a lot. It was like maybe $1,000 a year. And after like 8 years of this, I was like, oh, I should probably, like, they mail me what are they called? It's just like it tells you what's in your account, what you've invested, where, what's going on with it, where are you right now, what's in there. And I was looking at it and I was like, we've been paying about $1,000 a year for 8 years, but we don't have $8,000 in there. How does that work? And it was because we had less than 8,000, by the way. It was not like we don't have 8,000 in there. We have 24. We had like 6,800 or something crazy like that. Or maybe it was over 7. I think it was over 7. But still, it was less than what we had put in. And that was because it was not invested. It was just an account that was holding our money. And because we were under a certain dollar amount for so many years, they were taking fees until we hit that dollar amount, which is why it was less than what we actually put in there. But none of it was ever invested. None of that was invested into any stocks or bonds or anything like that. So I would recommend, if you have a 401k, if you have an IRA already, maybe from an old employer, just check it out. Talk to your brokerage accountant and figure out, is this invested into anything? Is this just like thrown into the stock market? Is this, what's it invested in? And if it's nothing, I would recommend investing it into something, because otherwise you're just going to be losing money to inflation year after year, like we did, until Tori Dunlap, and then I was able to use Capitalize and move their separate business, and there I was able to move that money and invest it somewhere else. But yeah, that is a common misconception about 401k, is that if you just put money into it, it is invested into the stock market and is going to be growing for you. It does not. You actually do have to invest it, which is why working with someone like Gusto or someone like Guideline or anyone else who does that kind of thing, who's not in a pyramid scheme, will be beneficial for you. So if you're wondering like what to invest in, because of course you are, the stock market is pretty safe. It doesn't seem that way some days, like especially if you like look at the news and then you see like the ticker and it's like, yeah, it was going up here, and then it's like dropped off of a cliff, and you're like, people lost like $1 trillion recently because of some tweet. But like over the last 100 years, the stock market has had a consistent return of about 9%, which minus inflation is about 6%. And that is just, you put your money in and you leave it. Don't try to do like the Wolf of Wall Street kind of like, I'm going to move money from here and then I'm going to invest over here and buy low and sell high and all of those things. Just put your money into the stock market and leave it, because it is a long game. My recommendation is not to look at it. Don't look at whenever you see those tickers going up and be like, ooh, I wonder how much I have now. Or whenever you see them plummet off and wonder how much money you just lost, because you didn't actually lose any money. Your money is still there. If you take it out of the stocks, if you take it out of the investments that you've put in during a downfall season, like, after the 2008 like housing crash and everyone lost like 50% of their stock investments. If you take your money out then, yes, you lose money. But if you leave it in, like the people who left their money in the stock market after 2008 and they still have it in today, it has grown exponentially since then because they left it in. And if they take it out now, they're going to get the benefits of that growth. But you're not losing money if the stock market goes down, because you only lose money if you take the money out of your investments at that downturn. Again, that is just my opinion. I am not a financial expert, so don't do what I say, but this is what I recommend. This is what I would do. This is what I do. It's a long game. You want to look at what is this going to be 40, 50 years down the road whenever I am actually going to take this out, and hopefully there's not like a 2008 housing market crash in 40 years whenever it is time for you to take your money out, because then you would be losing money. But for the most part, you're looking far into the future. This is a long game. This is not a short going to make money sort of thing. But if you want to learn more about how to get started in investing for your retirement, Tori Dunlap has an entire episode about how to start investing. I have it linked in the show notes to her blog, where you can listen to the podcast, and you can also like read the transcript and go through all of her notes and everything. It's a lot more comprehensive than what I went through today, because again, not a financial expert. And again, I wanted to keep this pretty short. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM. I love connecting with y'all. I love talking. I love talking to you and just like getting to hear your feedback of these episodes. If this was something that you liked, if you want to see more like mini series like this in the future, let me know. I love doing deep dives into different topics, and I'll give you a little shout out and be like, hey, so-and-so told me we should do this. So now we're doing that. But yeah, shoot me a DM. I'm on Instagram at wit.pod, witt.pod. You can also check us out on YouTube, where you can see me and see my face as I'm talking to you. You can also watch the videos on Spotify as well. But yeah, until next week, keep creating and keep making the world a better place. Bye, y'all.